Okay. This poem is titled Libya. I have a feeling that we have been here before. Tell me, what greater love story exists than that between the olden Maghreb and the ancient dunes of Mashriq? It looks like a mosque full of prayer. Sounds like holy hymn in Libya. Listen. Sometimes lovers will moonlight as dancers, embrace barren curves, gracefully waltzing around one another to a tune sung by the ever-aging Mother Earth. They birthed a girl named Sirtika, cherished her like promise, kept in the way each and every single sand grain of a kiss slips slowly through the hourglasses split. Understand this. They play at loving each other back in the shape of a star and a half-moon crescent. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. No one knows devotion like the desert. And we have seen all this before. Tell me, what greater love story exists than that between international media and these ruthless neo-imperialists? It looks like breaking news on CNN and sounds like propaganda, tyrant, oppressor, dictator. Listen. God created blood and oil as mirrors of one another. So hear this poem about Sirtika and know that she is Libya, really as an ode to Africa, and know that there is a culture that declares our beautiful brown faces as filth. We have felt this before. And we know that oil is only the manifestation of Africa's wisdom and riches in liquid form. I swear we have lived this before. Even Father Time has bared witness. Tell me, how we only ever spark an interest when it comes to how many of our resources they can pillage. And we too have played our part. Staged the most brutal atrocities in the name of nationalism. We have been so patriotic to our hearts, it keeps our little ideologies together, but it tears this continent apart. I will stand by this. The brother leader Gaddafi was a somewhat noble man. Built a nation truly providing for its citizens, offered free healthcare, jobs, and was 89.9% literate. None of this kleptocratic bullshit of the squandering of riches that Africa has become familiar with, and NATO put a tragic end to this. But it is our silence in these opportune moments that will be our greatest undoing. Sirtika, you are an expression of a continent in turmoil and affliction that knows no borders. Since March, you have passed the lips of every reporter, have seen your hardships engraved on every face in Libya, Egypt, Algeria, Yemen, and Tunisia, have seen your suffering slashed across the children of Somalia, your pain etched into the praying palms of Palestinians, your bare bones heaped in shallow graves in Rwanda. Yes, we have heard it all before. For this story just keeps unfolding in front of our eyes, this twisted fairy tale of blood, deceit, and lies under the Western disguise of salvation and peace. Yet they do the exact opposite when it comes to resources and killing our people cold-blooded in the streets. Tell me, does this nonsense that their media bombard us with not make you weary? Have you ever heard of NATO airstrikes being called on a first world country? America is equated to all things heroic. Yet every man and woman who is African or has a tongue soaked in Arabic is automatically a terrorist. I will say this once more. It is our silence in opportune moments that will be our greatest undoing. Africa has this drought in her eyes, this raging famine in her heart, a thirst for new direction, but these so-called leaders are just a mirage. I have a feeling we have been here before. Tell me, what greater love story exists than that between the golden Maghreb and the ancient dunes of Mashriq? God created blood and oil as mirrors of one another. So hear this poem about Sirtika and know that she is Libya, really as an ode to Africa, and know that silence will one day make orphans out of us. This one is called Of Leaving and Living. He is a study in the art of leaving, which is to say, he no longer wears the cologne that made you fall in love with him. All your poems, all your odes to him begin with the story of his skin, that signature heaven sent that made you want for nothing else, not even the bed sheets recognize him. He smells different. Not like mine, not like memories, not like how it felt when souls met, when hints of him beckoned soft lip to neck, how Gucci made air self-conscious. He has already laid claim to the lands of other women when I had given him an entire continent in my chest. So this is me taking inventory, retracing steps past stubborn I love yous and the countless voicemails that I left. Learn from me. When your name is no longer safe in his mouth, when you feel the slightest betrayal in his kiss, then go. Do not wait. Do not be the one who is only good for rainy days. You will waste away, pouring all your sunlight into him when he only ever casts his love as far as the next horizon. It is not surprising that you now carry a whole midnight of pain, because nowadays you take forever to board the train. Drag your feet and hope that city men will stop you to love you, and it hurts that they never do, darling. All they have ever known are these Joburg roads built on dreams of gold, so their hearts are rolling stones. How will you ever keep them? When you can't even own the truth about yourself. See, women like you and me have hearts like train stations. An overnight stop for everything and everyone temporary. He only comes near knowing very well that his future will look nothing like me. Perhaps I will never know how it feels to be called a home. These open arms will forever be a pit stop. These feelings only a meanwhile while he travels between going and gone. He is absolute perfection in the art of leaving. So this time, let him. Take a leap of faith into the God inside yourself and build a home in her. Stay brilliant, stay rising, stay glorious, stay whole. Let the love that you hold highest always be your own. Let him go and become a study in the art of really living, which is to say, flying.
The piece I'm gonna do, it's from this book. Good. Yeah, we're getting published, eh? It's plain, like there's no metaphors or stuff like that, it's just a poem. 16 days of activism. I just need to say this quick. I've dated so many women, and half of them have been raped, molested, and all that crap. It's irritating. Please, brothers, stop, man. No, man. No means no. Come on. I bite my lips so much that they're now covered with blisters. Quite recently, I've started cursing at my manhood because it bore no good but a constant trail of blood on my sister's underwear. I daily watch her put on a smile that I wish would last a mile. I need her to be fine without thinking about the fine for crying out loud. She's only 9, but bearing the gashes for the whole night, screaming her head off when the lights go off, whilst he walks around showing off, slowly pulling a barbie skirt off, spreading her thighs just to feed his need. I curse at my manhood, because to my sister it bore no good but a constant trail of blood on her underwear. Only 9, she tries to wear Jesus on her shoulder, but he falls off because of other kids there. Only 9, she thinks she has sinned. Only 9, she thinks she has sinned. Only 9, but she can tell you stories that will haunt you for years.
This poem is titled, Repetition Hurts. 5 autumns after your first love, a boy will unravel thunderstorms from your eyes. He will not care for the sight of your dignity staining your face and pillow as it leaves your body. Those 3 words will conjure a hurricane of memories. And the agonies that you will be torn in two. And whether you should just leave or maybe try and work it out, you will soak in the hard and lonely of leather couch and empty house. You will be torrential. A downpour of rejection, a flood of unanswered questions at your feet. It's because he wears this sunshine of a smile that makes promises before he even speaks. And every time the rain came, I would say prayers in your name, hoping that I were the one. But now it's clear that our season is done. I was just another number in your game. You played my heart for fun. Repetition hurts.
Sailors across the cosmos, we erect spiritual lighthouses, beacons to guide in relationships with God. We are tailors that dress up their words with fancy gestures to suit a pseudo-truth that changes from perspective to perspective. Wordsmiths, we nail souls to the heels of a reality that we forever create. The same souls that later leave footnotes to serve as trails to lead others to this world, where music is seen. We are artists.
We often assume that we cry from our eyes, but what if we trace the trajectory of our tears from our hearts? Flooding of emotion, tugging at the heartstrings, bringing curiosity to the things within the bloodstreams. Open eyes, slipped beams of light in the slipstream tonight with gear stuck. I sense a solitary drop towards the solitary top as it is battling through the space-time continuum, straddling this fine line, continuing to ascend against gravity, gravitating towards the source of the siphon in the duct. It arrives but doesn't violently erupt as it is reaching the peak and tweaking the eyelids, keeping them open, peeking over, blurry, sweeping views. As it looks closer, the eyelid closes. Then it is downhill from here as it is skirting the ski slopes of the face in its trail, becoming dismembered as if trying to say, please don't fail to remember me, becoming smaller with the loss of every precious piece. It reaches the precipice where it is catching the light and forcing it to dance within, and then it is trembling, and then it is tumbling, and then it is hurtling towards the earth, glistening, looking forward to rebirth, but on impact, one listening hears only the sound of more flooding. Thank you.
The world keeps turning, but time is not us. The earth keeps yearning, 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 yearning for light to shine. The energy ball feeding Earth's rapport with the mother of all is flickering. The children and the planet are bickering. The green land, brown sands, and open hands of the animals are asking questions like, why are humans so special? Why the ego's presidential? Rhino horns and famine, America and Aladdin. Killing giants, feeding violence, Arabian Nights brought to silence. Green carpet rides on the horizon, so save some for my sons. Save some for my sons, save some of this earth for my sons. My unborn child, my unborn child.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your top 5 for the Word and Sound Open Mic Challenge.
Till we beat rock and let the beats rock. I said we break rocks and let the beats rock. We let the beat rock. I said we beat rock and let the beats rock. I said we break rocks and let the beats rock. I said we beat rock and let the beats rock. We let the beat rock. I said we beat rock and let the beats rock. I said we break rock and let the beats rock. I said we beat rock and let the beats rock. We let the. And when the album is done and Black Label satisfies the Black Labor thirst, we play a new rhythm backstage while you tow statues of our labor. We let the motherfucking beat rock. When I say word and song, please say what? Word and song? Word and song? When I say word and song, please say what? Word and song? Word and song? When I say blast, please say what? Blast? Blast? When I say blast, please say blast? Blast? When I say a hurricane, please say what? A hurricane? A hurricane? When I say a hurricane, please say what? A hurricane? A hurricane? When I say missing gap, please say what? Missing gap? Missing gap? When I say the missing gap, please say what? The missing gap? The missing gap? A free range across Afghan plains, serving food Wide minds, times like kryptonite, and dream deferred. If only you could press rewind, go back to a time when life was right, on riverbanks of memory, swimming through life. It's like the God spirit is alive in you. Your mind's eye sees truth and nothing is new. Change is inevitable, move with the time. Stagnant life's a tragedy, hope is divine. Read the signs, in time with your face I demise. Life is kind, an old man dies with pride. Sound, the siren loud, a legend is found. Count many of your life that we put in the ground. Freedom is found. We all pray to the sky that the earth stay round. When I say missing gap, please say what? The missing gap. The missing gap. When I say the missing gap, please say the missing gap. The missing gap.
Okay, so the first piece engizoyenza, it grew from the concept of spring cleaning. You know, most are those cushions from your couch and you find all those coins and 10 rand notes that you misplaced. So it stems from that, from the concept of spring cleaning. Her short arms reached only far enough to touch his smile. Her own was in the sky, wrapped around in a cloud with no silver lining. Her little hands were witness to the true beauty of texture, hence her mind understood fingerprints and carpet frills and leather. The smooth floor was sliding along on her diaper, and the taste of marble had only recently survived her tongue's desire to decipher. Her mind, large with enterprise, created stars in her mother's eyes, and her father could duel Superman, and guess who would lose that fight? She could feel flying through the air on her father's might. She felt no one else could raise her to that same height. And on her travels through wingspan and time, she flew over Neverland and blew kisses to Peter Pan. She wanted to spend a lifespan of God's plan doing just that. Showing Peter Pan there was more to be had. She wanted to sing Barney's song. She flew over far, far away and waved to the green landscapes of her favorite place, where beauties became happily ever after, and ogres didn't dream of life lived faster, where she made him look cool and he made her mud pies or food and toys. Toys were school. But her toys are now so deep between the cushions of the seat that they may never again be seen. She now nurses a failed heart that has distorted love to some disfigured movie cliche thing. The split light the heart prism shines is a lie. The angels can't shout loud enough to make her cry. She is numb. Her arms hang limp at the side. No defense or pretense of wanting to try. Dry eyes tickle the cheeks of her time. Those rivers have long since dried, but her mind can't stop trying to remind her. A tickle here, a pinch there. Deja vu tricks fuel her view of life as violent, sticks stuck through her silence, prodding a sleeping giant. She has no desires, don't even try it. Because with the same hands that fought Superman, her father drew black eyes on her parchment canvas. His magic turned the fabric of her face to blood-soaked paper pages. Once healing hands, now black holes, stole the stars from her mother's eyes. Standing on his toes, he plucked them out of the night of his sky and sent them shooting down her cheeks, left her wishing on her own tears. Impotent next to his strength, she stood frozen stiff, as if the slightest sight of breath would trigger his flat spin and his flight through her eyes would fall right out of the sky. And they still only wanted to save him. Return him to the better state the bitter pace of anger and rage had stolen away from him. Recreate the daddy who played the princess saving the dragon, play tag and you're it. Help him find. Seek serenity where she hides. Help him throw ingedo, not stones. Help him love ikusha, not ropes. Somebody show him that there is help. Even for Superman daddies, there is growth. Even for broken canvases, he is still the masterpiece that God planned and man came and manhandled. Somebody mold him. Because he has a daughter now. And she's 3. And already her toys are so deep between the cushions of the seat that they may never again be seen. It's time for spring cleaning. Thanks. Okay, so the second piece. I always feel like in poetry we like to be didactic, you know. And I think sometimes a person needs to know that you've been where they are. That all that matters is that no matter how irrational, how impractical, how far-fetched you might feel like things are at the moment, that they've been there and that you got out and they can get out. So this is my interpretation of despair. It's called Pocket Full of Rainbows. Trapped in pants that don't fit. Dancing in borrowed robes. Stoned and praying for heroes. Come to figure out how to tear little holes in my ego. See, it's getting too bloated for my growth. So I think I'm throwing dreams at passers-by, trying to pocket their sense and nonsense so I can by slingshots reach farther into heaven's sky and hit the angels with these dreams of mine. But my pockets are empty. I'm too tired to let dreams be here, and instead passers-by leave little pieces of rainbows planted in gravel and harsh terrain, hoping to grow at least one rainbow's end. But I pocket them, you see. So a pocket full of rainbows weighs me down, and my tight pants sag, and I can't fit in, and I don't get out. So naturally, I poke holes in these boxes designed to hold the same. And graciously, I smile as women with big hats and short skirts, and men with big heads and small words call me names like Soul Sister, Yellowbone, and Poet. And I shrink in these shoes. I mean, these robes clothe me in robes written so eloquently that William Shakespeare would take notes. Holding my tongue, because words are what get me into this mess. I guess I'm left with the prospect of sharpening my rainbows and pointing them at angels, grazing their wings with other people's happiness, imagining them in a fluster, dropping my dreams accidentally, thinking, maybe if they're startled, they'll forget to be selfish with them. So if you should see an angel, white as light, trying to kiss the tanning rays of the sun with left wing stained red on a patch of just a few feathers, think of me and my misery. Where you dropped your rainbows and graciously I picked up every last one. And when misery loved my company, I sharpened the little things. Sharpened when I threw them, they flew true right to the wings of angels, having random conversations of parties in celebration of heavenly grace. Flew right to the angels, sharing jokes about us humans, trimming their feathers and preening their grace. Mirror, mirror, in the sky, would you tell the humans why? And the answer, well, God is high. God smoked a blunt and ate your tired little dreams while feeding his munchies. Is that why you awaken the angels with rainbows hurled, sharp words? Yes, startled angels may drop dreams accidentally, but God, he's in the back. He's hallucinating green, feeding his munchies while, like idiots, you're trying to dream.
It's not